Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, Steve?
Hola y bienvenidos al podcast. I don't know how to say this.
And welcome to the podcast. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. How's it going, man?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing excellent. I see that you're representing French barbecue.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, whether they know it or not, but delicious. It's so good.
So even though I'm on this diet, like I put just a little bit of their barbecue sauce like on my healthy food because it's too good to like let sit in my refrigerator. So you have to use a little bit.
Dude, seriously. I also did the same thing. Did you eat anything amazing this week, or is it still just kale and steak?
It's still just like chicken and kale. And I mean, and so you would think, okay, well, you're a chef, you know how to make it good. But the caveat is you can't use all the stuff that you normally like to use, which like a seasoning may contain stuff that you shouldn't have, things like that, and the only reason why I'm doing it this way is because I'm trying to get like a baseline of like my blood sugars and see how my body reacts to stuff. So before I start introducing all this stuff back into my diet, like we're playing it very plain Jane, except for the Finch barbecue sauce, because you can't not have it,
Yeah, you have to do something, with just a little bit of flavor. And that's kind of the thing about meal prepping is that when you're doing it when you're trying to keep it really healthy, you forget how much, sugar and whatever else is in all the things that you love to eat so much.
You forget that everything worth eating is probably not the best for you, but when you have really sensitive genetics and blood sugars like me, you kind of have to go to the extreme. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I totally get that. What did they say when we were in culinary school? Fat equals flavor. That's not true. So that's not to say that like all fat is bad, but yeah, it's definitely like the things that taste the best, they taste the best for a reason.
That's right. What about you? What was the best thing you had all week?
Well, I got some venison link sausage on sale down at the Walmarts, and I was gonna give the air fryer another go, and so I had a half of a bag of like hash browns O'Brien, red and green peppers, which has nothing to do with Ireland, so O'Brien strange. And I had some frozen broccoli, and I chopped the sausage up, and I also used the Finch barbecue, the Lone Star beef rub, to season the entire mixture with a little olive oil, and I put it in the air fryer. And I don't know, dude. I don't know if I'm meant to use air fryers or not, but basically it kind of turned into like smashed potatoes, which I didn't hate. it. So I put a little salsa and cheese on top and called it a day, and I had a couple bowls out of it, but like it was really good.
Yum.
Really, really good. So
you already got me thinking about like my first cheat meal, which is probably gonna be like 40,000 calories,
That's not cheating. It's not cheating.
I'm allowed one meal. Okay. But I'm not there yet. I'm getting close. So close.
It's your eat meal. Well, you're looking fit. Good job. So.
Muchos gracias. That's thank you in Spanish.
That's thank you in Spanish.
Babbel is paying off.
And Steve over here using Babbel.
The Babbel app, so I can start learning Spanish and be less of an embarrassment of a Hispanic person. But it's okay. One day at a time.
I speak some of the funniest Spanish you've ever heard.
Yeah, same here. It's okay. So, what is going on? What are we talking about today?
All right, so the Super Bowl is coming up, and I want to know like what everybody is eating for their Super Bowl party, and I want to talk a little bit about where it all started, and I want to know what your favorites are, and then I can tell you what my favorites are. That's what we're doing.
That's easy. Chicken, kale, and broccoli. I'm kidding.
Is that what Super Bowl 2024 is looking like?
It's looking like it, but at the same time, I'll tell you some of the stuff I like to make. I'll tell you some of the best things I've had, but we'll get there. So, okay, you have two teams playing, and do you ever really pay attention to who's playing or not really?
I don't. I like a good. We talked about this in the appetizers episode. I like a good theme for a meal, and so sometimes I think it's fun to kind of dive into each city's, most popular foods, or kind of like do a riff on something. I think it's really fun, but I don't sports, and so when I say I'm just here for the food, I legitimately mean I'm just at the Super Bowl party.
You got to do the entire package, Melissa. You got to go for the theme and the food.
That's right. So
just wear red. Both teams have red in their colors or their uniforms. If they ask who you're going for, just be like, I'm going for the one in red.
I'm here for the food. I'm cheering for the food.
There you go. And the commercials.
So I can't even remember if I watched the Super Bowl last year. I don't think so. Maybe the year before. Sometimes I have to work. Sometimes I don't. My staff seems to care a great deal about watching it, and I don't work at a place that has TVs, so we're not really busy because there's nowhere to watch it. So we're just not that atmosphere, and that's not what people come there for. And so we end up being slower, and I usually just work that day. What about you?
Last year, I watched the Super Bowl with some friends. I was going for my Eagles, and my friend was going for his Chiefs. And, well, it worked out well for him. So it didn't work out too well for me. But I was going to enjoy some food.
I was going to ask you, if the Eagles had made it to the Super Bowl, would that change your food plans?
No, not really.
No, you'd still be doing the healthy meal planning. You wouldn't plan some.
I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
Neither confirm nor deny.
Right. I'm not saying it.
Not saying.
So what's your favorite thing to do for Super Bowl? What is your favorite meal for Super Bowl when you are not working?
So I'm a big fan of a lot of the classics. I like Pigs in a Blanket. Or the cocktail smokies. My family does half grape jelly, half mustard in the crock pot, but you can also do it barbecue sauce. And then the queso dip that you make with the sausage in it in the Rotel, I could eat an entire crock pot of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of Chex Mix, although I feel like it's kind of more like Thanksgiving and Christmassy, but I love a good trail or a good snack mix.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, dude, I've never said no to food at a party, basically, ever. If you don't believe this chin, just ask this chin, okay? But yeah, so I really like all the classic stuff.
Like the wings and the pizza and the sliders.
Definitely wings. Some sort of cocktail meatball, wings, some sort of, the little Hawaiian rolls with either a sliced ham or some pulled pork or some chopped up brisket. Dude, it is all good. It is all good.
Yeah. So, I know this is the second biggest food holiday in the States, which is crazy because, Halloween is the number one with all the candy, right? But it's insane to think people prefer food for this. I would think Christmas would be a very close second to Thanksgiving, but Super Bowl, in all fairness, yeah, totally. That and 4th of July, those are the big ones in my opinion. What about you? What do you think would be the second biggest food day instead of Super Bowl? What should it be?
I honestly thought it was Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is number one, right?
Thanksgiving. So the second one, sorry. I wouldn't have picked. I don't know if I would have picked the Super Bowl, but it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, big time.
It makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I like all the finger foods. I like all the dips. Even the veggie tray, I will throw down. I just need there to be continuous food entertainment so that I don't have to watch the footballs.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying. I would just say.
Yeah. Let's see. So I think growing up, we always just barbecued stuff like that. Fajitas, the usual. That was always our get-togethers.
Like a cookout.
Yeah, exactly. And then as I got older, it quickly went to pizza and chicken wings. And I think that's still a staple for me because it's just it's not only is it comforting, but it's tradition, how can we get the best pizza and the best wings? Who makes the best pizza and the best wings?
Well,
stuff like that.
even just the food being the tradition that you're used to is comforting in and of itself, even though it's not necessarily what you might call it, quote unquote, comfort food, right?
Right.
Like I 100%. What are you doing? Are you taking a picture of your dog? He's taking a picture of his dog.
Dude.
See, from here, nobody can see your dog, so it looks like you're doing the dirty things over there.
Yes, I apologize for being so distracted. I have this little dog in my lap, and he's kind of distracting. But
look it.
So yeah, I mean, it evolves over time. Like, even though it's something as simple and as basic as chicken wings and pizza, like I said, you try to outdo yourself every year. Would not repeat yourself. Okay, so you're grilling wings. Then one year you're baking wings. And one year
smoke them.
And then 1 year you sous vide, and then air fry or deep fry. You know, like it's like making my mouth water just thinking about that right now. Like,
Steve,
how am I going to outdo myself this year?
When you do pizza at your house, do you have like one of the little pizza ovens, or do you just use like what's your preferred?
I mean, I just kind of use my oven because I don't have a pizza oven or a pizza stone or anything like that. So I make do with what I got.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had like maybe like one of those little outdoor setups. You know what I'm talking about? They look like a little chimenea, but it's like
So you're gonna laugh at me when I tell you this. I had a chance to get like one of those uni pizza ovens for like
sure.
I think it was like $200 or something like that, and I thought that's too expensive, even though it's like on sale or whatever. Maybe I can get a little bit cheaper, and then it sold. So I was like, damn it, I should have gotten it. I blew it. Otherwise, I would be making like awesome pizzas too, you know.
I really like to cook pizza in a cast iron skillet. I have a pizza stone too, but the pizza stone, quite honestly, it usually ends up being for like bread or cookies.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Kind of that my back pocket pizza crust recipe is Bobby Flay's. It's just super easy. It's like an instant yeast recipe, and so it's kind of, you can have like pizza in an hour. Really, really like it, and it's heavy on the olive oil too, so it's kind of like focaccia-y, which I really enjoy.
You know what? I need to make a focaccia and then do that like in my deep cast iron, and then do like a Chicago or not? Yeah, no, Detroit style. There you go.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So
you're giving me all these ideas, and I like it.
If you're trying to top yourself, like why not make pizza wings? Do you not think that's a thing? Like oregano, garlic, onion powder, mozzarella.
Oh, I didn't even think.
Come on, guy. What about like cheese powder? Like, you could do it, you know, and you could make like spicy marinara, like arrabbiata to dip.
That actually sounds pretty good.
Dude, it sounds really good right now.
How are we going to combine that? Oh, so I don't know if you remember a good friend of mine from culinary school. He's still a good friend of mine to this day, Mr. Miles Lindsay. So when we worked together at a resort in San Antonio for a bit, like, he would make this pizza where it was like a regular cheese pizza. Then he'd like deep fry wings and like make them, you know, like buffalo style. He'd add a little bit of honey, barbecue sauce, and all that stuff. And then he'd put it on a pizza, and then he'd cover that with provolone. Holy cow. Like, that to this day is still one that I talk about because it was just so good the way he would make it.
So like nugs, like boneless?
No, he would get like the bone-in wings, and he would just rip off all the meat.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I like it. He was a genius when it came to stuff like that.
Dude, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it was.
I love
amazing.
Provolone on a pizza too.
Yeah, it was legit. I missed
it. It just melts different. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like.
I agree 100%.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to talk about wings. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history?
So, what, back in the 50s, 60s?
I think so.
Something like that. So, you know how chicken was actually higher priced than beef and pork. Like, it just wasn't industrialized or commercialized, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit more expensive. And of course, you could only buy it, whole, right? And so what do you do with all the scraps? Like, I mean, people don't eat or I guess they weren't eating the wings. They were just throwing them away, you know?
Which makes me really sad because wings now are expensive.
And it's funny because someone told me because they were scraps, it was considered like poor people food, I guess you could say.
It's just like we politically correct about, like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But we talked about awful. Like, it wasn't, it was frowned upon.
And so, there was a restaurant in Buffalo, New York, the Bellissimo family. I don't remember what the name of the restaurant was. It was probably Bellissimo's, right? but
something like
but
that.
yeah, like they started deep frying wings, and from what I read, like customers at first were like, "What is this? What in the world?" And then like they tried to make it more bar food, and then they started tossing it in like in buffalo sauce or something like that. No,
Yeah, it was
Tabasco.
like a hot pepper sauce. So yeah, it was probably closer
Yeah,
to what we know as Tabasco, and then somebody kind of took it and made it way better with like honey and butter to kind of make
yeah,
like classic wing sauce.
yeah, most definitely. But I mean, yeah, and so it just caught on, and I think there was also another restaurant in Buffalo, New York, who kind of took it and ran with it and started to make it a little bit more popular. But I mean, that's kind of like the origin. I'm sure there's a lot more to it. But over time, I mean, it's just evolved, and I think people who like outdo themselves with wings and double and triple cook them and things like that, like it's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, from its humble beginnings, it was kind of like a throwaway bit, and then a bar kind of found a way to be creative, like a little bar and restaurant, right? But at the moment, during this weekend of the Super Bowl, Americans consume about 1.38 billion chicken wings on average. So
Wow.
it was definitely a success
Yeah.
in every way. In every way.
Yeah. Now, what's your
Mhm.
favorite way to cook chicken wings?
So this is a little bit taboo in some circles, but I actually like a little bit of breading on them. Not like
Okay.
heavy breading, but just like a little cornstarch or like a little cornstarch and baking powder.
Yeah.
So,
And you fry
and
them or what?
yeah, I mean, so I like to brine them. I like to
Yeah.
I like the whole wing, so the first and the second joints all together. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't cut them, even though I feel flats are superior. I don't cut them apart.
I don't know. I like the drumstick part.
Well, ever since I learned how you could like smash a flat with your hand and get all the meat off and like pull the bone out clean, I just kind of there's a lot of tendons in the drumette, so but I'll do like the whole like the party wing, right?
Yeah.
Like all together. I like to brine them, pat them super dry. I obviously, or in case anybody didn't know, I don't have a deep fryer in my home, and so I like to toss them in a highly seasoned like a cornstarch and baking powder mixture, and then
Mhm.
bake them. So
Nice.
it helps them be crispy too at home.
I always have to brine mine as well, and then I'll either smoke them, I'll either grill them.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I have a bigger air fryer, I can totally air fry them. But I never really think about that.
I should probably try that out, I guess.
I would imagine if you put like that corn starch on them, like that
Mm-hmm.
little bit of on there, that they turn out even better.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't have a deep fryer either, but I have an air fryer. Let me tell you about how great these air fryers are. They don't slice, they don't dice, but geez, they make some bomb wings.
They will do all the things that you want.
Right.
Are so I've been told. I think I've used this thing 3 times. It actually belongs to my brother, so I'm not like wholly for or against them. It's just kind of a funny shtick.
Now, do you prefer your wings sauced or unsauced?
I want them sauced, and if it's going to be like a dry mixture, like Buffalo Wild Wings has a salt and vinegar wings that's like a dry. I want it to be something like that, like a seasoning blend of some sort. And I often find that the like kind of garlic parmesan variations are super disappointing.
They usually
not
are.
Garlicky
they
enough.
Sound so great.
I know they're not garlicky enough. So I despise lemon pepper. Have we talked about this?
No, tell me about your hate and disdain for lemon pepper.
It got super popular in the 90s, and my grandma would put on everything. And we even had like the couscous you can buy in the rice aisle that's like dry in the box, like Far East, I think, or Near East is like the brand name. They had lemon pepper couscous at one time, and Steve, like, it's really no shade to my grandmother. I loved her to death, and she was a lovely lady, and she could cook really well. She was an angel, but there just comes a point after you eat something so many times that like I can smell lemon pepper now, and I'm like, I can't do it.
That bad, huh?
I can't do it.
The only time I'll do lemon pepper really is probably like with some seafood.
Yeah.
But
well, I think it comes from working in a retirement community as well. Like I've worked in a couple of different senior living environments, and lemon pepper, big hit with that crowd as well. So it's lemon pepper tilapia, lemon pepper catfish, lemon pepper pork loin. Like I'm good. I'm all set. So yeah,
it sounds like lemon pepper is the Cracker Barrel of seasonings.
I like Cracker Barrel though.
It's not a knock, but at the same time, it kind of is. So I don't blame you if you get mad at me.
I'm ready to retire. Like I like Cracker Barrel a lot. Is it the best thing ever? No, it's consistent though.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, my guys, like I'm ready.
You are too much right now.
I'm ready to not work.
You're ready to retire, aren't you?
Dude, I'm ready.
Don't you worry. But yeah, like I love to smoke my wings. Of course, like I said, I always brine them. From time to time, if I don't have time to brine them, I'll sous vide them just for fun, just to try something different. And then I'll like either put my broiler setting on in the oven, or I'll air fry them, something along those lines, or just something to get them real crispy. I always like it that way. And of course, a little bit of some barbecue sauce, or like a doctored up barbecue sauce. Now, I have yet to use Finch's barbecue sauce on chicken wings, but I'm sure that alone stands up to everything. They're not paying me to say this, by the way. That's how much I like them. I mean, that's how much I want to be endorsed. No, I'm kidding.
If it's good on baked or smoked chicken and everything else, then like it could totally be good on a wing. Do you like spicy? Like, do you go more of the buffalo direction or something else?
I mean, I'll add a little bit of Tabasco and some spice into it, but I like more of a savory, like a rich umami type of sauce to go with that. And then I drown it all out with ranch. That is or blue cheese dressing. That's it.
So I used to be all ranch on the wings, and somewhere along the way, like a switch flipped, and I really prefer blue cheese. And it kind of doesn't matter what flavor it is, whether it goes with it or not. Doesn't matter to me.
I think what we should do is just combine a blue cheese and a ranch dressing, so it's a blue cheese ranch.
Branch.
It's a branch, a blend, yeah.
It's branch.
Yeah. A combination of the two, because every time I go to a wing place, I gotta have both ranch and blue cheese. So yeah, I should just start combining.
True story. I don't think I'll get in trouble because I don't know that. I've lost contact with all but one person who ever worked at this one place with me in Austin. But I used to work at a place in Austin that their blue cheese dressing would start with a quick pickle shallot in champagne vinegar, but with a ranch packet. And it was kind of like the secret. And then you would crumble like a wheel of Maytag. It was legit. And I used to just eat I would just eat garlic bread dipped in this blue cheese dressing like as a meal. But there is
delicious.
There is 1,000% something to be said about that buttermilk ranch flavor and blue cheese together. Like it is really good.
So moving on, what about pizza? Like if you get a pizza for Super Bowl, what kind of pizza are you eating?
Supreme. I like that old school, like it's probably the only instance where I actually eat like green bell peppers in any meaningful quantity is like on a Supreme pizza. They make me a little gassy. So
I do like Supreme pizza, but I always find myself picking off the green peppers for some reason.
I mean, they're bitter. They're not really meant to, like, if you look around the world in different cuisines, right? Green bell peppers are not really like intended to be cooked. They can go well with fajitas, but they have a bitterness there that, you know, even like Mediterranean cuisine, it's kind of like, these aren't great. Like, if they're bitter because they're like unripe. You know,
I really don't care what kind of pizza I get for Super Bowl Sunday. It could be Supreme, it could be pineapple and Canadian bacon for all I care. As long as I have a pizza and it's got a good crust on it, and there's a ton of ranch or like that garlic butter that one chain likes to give out, which is delicious.
Papa John's for the win.
Dude,
I'm not mad at that garlic sauce. Like, I just don't. I can't tell you. At least in recent memory, there's not been a Super Bowl party spread that has included pizza. Not in my circles, but I have definitely been near plenty of sporting things and sportsing things where there's been pizza. And I'm a really big fan of the barbecue chicken pizza too. Like a really big fan. Good. Yeah.
What about sliders? Like, do you do burgers or sliders or hot dogs or anything like that for Super Bowl?
So I think burgers and hot dogs always end up being like 4th of July. Super Bowl, sometimes sandwich tray, I think is like the closest, at least on our end. I did make some, it wasn't anything like extremely special, but my brother doesn't eat condiments. And so I always want to make sure he has something to eat. And so for family Christmas this last year, I did kind of like the TikTok hack where you take the entire package of Hawaiian rolls and you cut them lengthwise. Yeah. And then I made like Swiss and turkey, like pull apart sliders. Super tasty. So
I feel like right now the trend is the smash burgers. I would do like smash burger sliders.
Yeah. Have you seen it where you take like a quarter sheet pan and you press the meat out and you put a pan on top of it? So you make a giant smash burger, like rectangular patty in the oven, drain the grease off, and then you put it on the Hawaiian, like
I've seen that
build
too.
The whole thing. Yeah. Like, do you like is it too sweet? Do you like the Hawaiian rolls? Like
I do actually. I think it's a nice compliment with all the savory meat and the cheese and the condiments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just good.
I like it.
But it makes me sad that they're so small and you have to eat a bunch of them and then you go through like a whole package by yourself and you feel like
you're full
glutton. And then you have bad genetics and you got to go on diets like I do. You know?
What about, have you ever like dressed wings with ranch powder as the seasoning?
I've done that and I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I have like in my spice cabinet right now across the recording studio, aka my kitchen table. I have a Frank's Red Hot, but in powder form. And it was like
you get that.
I didn't either. It was like a promotional sample I got somewhere I worked, and I was like, you ain't just gonna take this home. Y'all aren't gonna use it. So it's pretty mostly I put it on popcorn, but I think I wasted my time. It needs to go on a wing.
Dude, that does sound good on popcorn though. Like
it is really, really good.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I was about to say, no, you take that back. It sounds good. Back.
And
it was Latin words.
So wings and pizza. And then what about chips and dip? Like,
oh, dude, any kind of dip, really. Like it.
Well, spinach artichoke, you said, right?
Spinach artichoke dip is good. I do like a good French onion dip. I also try to recreate, like I always try to put like some sort of twist on like a French onion soup, but make it like a dip, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, that always
like
makes
hot,
me
though?
happy. Yeah.
So it's like dairy, like cream cheese based? Okay.
Yeah, cream cheese based. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for some grocery store French onion dip. Like I won't even discriminate. Please open the tub, get some Ruffles. Like I am in. 100%.
But I also, so I try to make it like French onion soup, quote unquote, style, where like you get some of that bouillon to kind of like give it that extra flavor, you know, and it comes out so good. But like, honestly, any kind of cream cheese dip, period. And if you throw like biscuit dough on top and bake that off, and your dip is hot and biscuits, oh my God, complete gluttony.
Yes.
Total. Yeah.
Steve, sometimes I like to take boneless pork chops and season them really well. And I like to spread French onion dip that I've mixed with an additional French onion soup packet on top, and then bake them and then cover them with cheese and crispy onions.
Yum.
Like, dude, it's really good. It's not like the pinnacle of haute cuisine, right? Like there's no nice, like super nice sear on the pork, but it's a really good, like, make this in a Pyrex dish and have really fast dinner, like put with rice. It's not fancy, but
it doesn't sound like very Super Bowl-ish kind of food. That sounds like, hey, we're gonna get a little too creative at Melissa Reagan.
Nah, we were just talking about onion dip. Like, dude, what
about like pork ribs? Speaking of pork, like, do you do pork ribs?
I do. I don't have a smoker. I like to do ribs in the oven. And I like to stand them. I like kind of make like a foil rack and stand them up.
Yeah.
So it's the Finch barbecue rub, man. Like,
I always appreciate a good pork rib. I like to use my smoker, but my smoker's kind of small, so I can only throw a couple racks in there. But still, they come out great. And I just let them go.
You have to do more. You just means you have to do more. You just have to do more. Like, stand
them up and do even more. Yeah, and that's not a bad idea.
It's the same thing in my oven. I might maybe like boil them for 10 minutes. And then pat them dry and then rub them down. And sometimes you use a little liquid smoke. It's not cheating. It's just being resourceful. Just a little. If you put too much on there, it's super nasty. Like you don't want that to be the flavor profile, but it's just like an accent. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll put them in the oven for like 250 degrees for like until they fall off the bone. Until I can pull a bone clean out.
One year we made ribs, and it was fall off the bone tender, and so I'd made them the day before, and I took all the bones out, and I wrapped them up, and I pressed down on them, so that way you can have like a little patty, cut them into patties, and then you do like your little McRibs, if you will, but like homemade, and I like that a lot too.
Good. Sounds so good.
Yeah, it really does, and I'm kind of getting. I'm starting to get hungry thinking about it.
Getting a little hungry.
Right? Oh, Canopy Super Bowl Sunday already.
I had a freaking bowl of shredded wheat for breakfast today.
Yeah, we're totally bad hosts. We need to be making all this more.
What about meatballs? Do you do meatballs for the Super Bowl?
I used to, but it's like I said, I find myself doing more of the traditional like wings and pizza.
So hey, you like what you like. I mean, it's tradition.
I think when I think of meatballs, I think more like a good Italian pasta dish. I think of like Christmas holiday get-togethers more than anything else.
Yeah,
now, granted, it is an easy thing to put together, but that's not what I typically do. I will, you know what though? If I did do meatballs every Super Bowl Sunday, I'd have like an awesome horseradish dip to go with it. Yeah.
I mean, I think like a really good barbecue meatball, and then you put the slider buns out. That's like a really easy, like kind of BYO slider. I will tell you at Christmas, you can kind of take like your choice hot sauce and combine it with a can of whole berry cranberry sauce and do like cranberry meatballs. Those are good at Christmas time, but
they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about, we talked about dips, but when you make queso, do you I'm queso. When you make cheese dip, right? What's your secret? Do you have a special secret?
I really don't. I just like to get like a ton of cheeses, heavy cream. I like to do the Rotel and like.
What I'm getting at is you're not using a block of Velveeta, right?
Well, I'm glad I didn't say that out loud.
No, I'm genuinely curious. I don't know. Are you?
It all depends. Like every now and then, I'll use the Velveeta, but I'll throw a bunch of other stuff with it too. Like it doesn't. It's not just Velveeta. I love the breakfast sausage with that, and then the Rotel. And like I said, I throw a bunch of other cheeses in there too. Heavy cream to like make it more of a queso consistency.
Make it more rich.
But and then you have to have like really salty tortilla chips because that's the only way to have queso.
You can't. The chips can't be too nice. They gotta be kind of crappy. I'm just saying.
As long as there's a ton of salt on them, I really don't care.
Super salty. I like to use the white Velveeta, and sometimes instead of Rotel, like I'll use like a hot Owen sausage, and then sometimes instead of Rotel, I'll go the Hatch green chili route.
Oh, that's always a classic too.
Like puree pickled jalapenos into the base. This makes it like super hot and like we're kind of acidic. It's like yes. So
that's not a bad way to go either. I always like, and then I always have to have like a little guacamole off to the side too, so that way you can like pick and choose or do a little bit of both. That always makes me happy too.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of the times if I'm eating queso out, I'm like, they'll put guacamole in the middle of it. I kind of want them separate. I don't want them together. I don't know.
I can see that.
And it's just like a warm avocado is a weird thing to me.
Yeah. So do you ever do like the pork rinds instead of like the tortilla chips?
I've done it before. Like when I did keto, I would.
Yeah.
Like on and off.
There's a restaurant out here that'll do that. Like you get an order of their chicharrones and they're real crispy. They're fresh. They're hot. They're or like you can hear like all the crackling. And then you put it in your queso and it just kind of melts into it. Oh, so good.
I mean, I think those are different than kind of like the Joe's pork rinds you buy at the grocery store. Like for sure. It's like a real crackling. What about, do you just ever do a big spread like veggies and dip like crudité?
I really don't think of going like that route only because I want to just be as gluttonous as possible, and I want people to think like, "Hey, we want to come back." I
Steve's
feel like
I need grease. You can't make friends with carrots.
If I gave them vegetables, they'd be like, "Steven hates us. He does not really want us here. We will not come back because he served us vegetables."
Well, most of the time in this part of the world, there is some sort of veggie tray and stuff. Steven, are you getting a package?
I don't know. Hold on.
Stand by, y'all. Steven was expecting a delivery while we're recording, so no biggie.
No package.
All right.
We're just closing the door, setting off our dogs.
You can't close a door on a dog. The world disappears and everything goes wrong.
Yeah. By the way, if you thank your dogs for barking and protecting you, they feel validated, and hopefully it shuts them up a little bit quicker.
My dogs are going to continue to feel validated by the 2 meals and cuddles they get every day. So it's going to have to be enough.
Right.
It's going to have to be enough. Steve, go ahead.
I was going to say, so do you ever like combine all your stuff into one giant, like just like a pizza with a wing and like chips and put another piece of pizza on top and do like a sandwich like that? Like just something real. Yeah.
No, I can't say that I have, but I will say that all time rules go outside the window during like a Super Bowl party. I will eat at least 8 entrees worth of food and have zero qualms about it. I don't even know how long a football lasts, okay? But I'm like, oh, the food's still out? Great, we're gonna go eat more food.
I feel like if we were hanging out and you asked me how much longer, I would probably say halftime. And I feel like he'd be the person to say, "There's more?
We're still doing this?
It's only halfway done? Jeez." But it would be okay because I would just say, "All right, let's keep eating. Come on."
You're not entirely wrong. Like, you are not entirely wrong. But I'm like, oh, is there more queso? Okay, well, y'all be in there with the TV. I'm going to be in here. I'm going to protect this. I'm going to keep it safe.
Right.
I'm going to keep this safe. Steve, I want to talk to you about some of, some food statistics for the Super Bowl.
Tell me some food statistics.
Yeah. So we talked about the amount of wings that Americans will consume on average Super Bowl weekend. What about pizza? Where do you think that ranks on like a list of the top Super Bowl snacks?
I would say, like top 5 or like, are you?
Yeah. So if we know that wings are popular and we talked about pizza and chips, like how do you think those things compete with one another?
Oh, wings. I would say pizza outweighs wings in this particular case. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, well, in a way it does, right? So out of the top 2, wings are most popular across the United States, but pizza is 60% of all takeout orders that are, called in on Super Bowl Sunday is pizza. It's the easiest and fastest thing to get to your house.
True. I feel bad for people who
somebody Somebody has it right. Americans eat 8 million pounds of guacamole on average on game day. Over 40,000 sausages and hot dogs will be served at the game, depending on the venue. And then 14 billion burgers. Apparently, the weekend of the Super Bowl is the second biggest grilling week of the year after the 4th of July, which makes no sense to me because February is not grilling weather, but whatever.
No, it really isn't. But for that one day,
it is, right? That's where there's a will, there's a way. And then probably my favorite statistic is once the game day is over, once Super Bowl Sunday is over, antacid sales increase roughly 20%.
That's a fact I would have never taken into consideration, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and around 1.5 million Americans will call in sick to work after Super Bowl Sunday. They don't say if it's digestion related, but man, I bet it's not far off. So it's either digestion or alcohol or both. So
see both, yeah.
You can see both.
I never called in after a Super Bowl Sunday because I never drank that much, but I ate a lot, and fortunately, I knew when to stop.
I'm a professional eater, so that's not real child's play. Like, I just don't calling it work for that.
You're about to throw up because you're full. Oh, what a rookie! I'm gonna eat and then just eat some more. I feel. Yeah.
I remember a friend telling me, this person will remain nameless, but we were talking about Thanksgiving a number of years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago. And this person said that they, several years in a row, had to attend more than one Thanksgiving. And so they would force themselves to be sick so that they could make room for more food. And I was just like, I like food too much. You need to learn how to play the long game, because I'm not doing that. You know, like, it is a marathon, not a sprint. You need to learn how to break that up. You know,
wow.
I couldn't do it. So I think people, I always hear people joke about, and especially in events like the Super Bowl, or people go watch a championship game at their local sports bar, or it'll be Thanksgiving, or it'll be Christmas or Easter or whatever. And I always hear people say, like, oh, I ate so much I made myself sick. I'm like, impossible.
Just
you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
I used to be one of those people. Now I kind of pace myself and just eat a little at a time, get a little bit more, more. And once I start to feel full, then I'm good.
If I have to turn a 3-hour event into an entire day's worth of festivities, well, then rock on. Yeah. You know, like, if that's what we're doing. So, Steven, who's playing in the Super Bowl this year?
It is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
All right.
Now, what foods is Kansas City known for?
I say barbecue.
Ding, ding, ding.
You went to Joe's while you were there, right?
Yeah, it was good. Mm-hmm. So delicious.
What else?
I mean, there's all sorts of barbecue joints that are just out of this world. I mean, I don't remember all their names, but if you listen to our episode where I went to visit, then yeah, you'll know. But what about San Francisco? What are they known for as far as food?
All right, so there's definitely the iconic sourdough from Bowden. It's like where you see the kind of classic picture of the chowder that's being served in the bread bowl. So you can get that all in San Francisco. Obviously seafood because it's near the ocean, and then dim sum because they have a huge Chinatown there. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm sorry, but I love food from both places. I love barbecue from there.
I do.
And I love all the food from San Francisco. Like, yeah, it's hard to compete. Which one would you pick?
Well, if I had to design a Super Bowl menu based on this year's competitors, I would probably do some fusion of both things. So I would make some sort of Kansas City barbecue, maybe like a Kansas City style brisket, but like on a sourdough slider bun. You know what I mean? I think I would just have a lot of fun using components, some iconic components from each city. You know?
I can see that, yeah.
So
I don't know what I would do for like a San Francisco type of like meal, but I have been to San Francisco and I do love like the clam chowder in the bread bowl and all that. And I'm the one who will eat like the entire bowl of bread too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I think dim sum is like that's a really interesting proposition for Super Bowl. I think you could kind of like Super Bowlify it if you had to, like different dumplings and spare ribs and that could be like a fun, it could be like a fun challenge, for a chef, I think.
That's true. If I had to do like some sort of Kansas City thing, man, I don't know. I feel like I would still end up making like ribs and whatnot, but if I were to make a brisket, I feel like it would still be too Texas style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably have to stay true to my roots there. I think the sourdough could go a long way though, because have you seen those? There's this Instagram person that I follow that does Will It sourdough, and they constantly just make a new batch every week. And then they mix rando ingredients into it. So they do like s'more sourdough and pizza sourdough and everything else. Like, it's really fascinating. So I think that you could, Will It sourdough, like some brisket. You fold like brisket, or what if you took like a sourdough bowl, like a round loaf of sourdough, and you made it part of the dip? Like you cross cross cut it and then put your meat and cheese in there, make a pull apart situation with like a hot dip.
That sounds like it would be pretty good. I would probably use some of the drippings to go into my sourdough, like some of that fat and all that. I feel like that would be pretty good.
Yeah. I've been making kind of what I would call cheater sourdough. Like I made a potato flake starter recently. So I kind of have these really, really sentimental memories of potato bread when I was a kid. And I think it's because somewhere along the way, I told myself that I wasn't allowed to have soft, squishy bread because it wasn't healthy enough. And I kind of wanted to see if I could replicate that texture, but still have some healthy elements like the sourdough itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's been pretty interesting. It's not my favorite for sure, but I think sourdough focaccia would probably be like a really great for game day.
Oh yeah.
Some sausage or pepperoni on top. You know?
I do like a good focaccia though, period.
Apparently there's a famous place in Kansas City that has peach cobbler, which I can't even imagine because I don't know, dude, the South's got a pretty good lock on peach cobbler. So I'm like, I would believe that when I saw it.
Cobbler, then heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to turn it down from anywhere. It's just funny to see it on a list as iconic when I know that all throughout the South there's like amazing cobbler to be had.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even consider. I would never consider cobbler for a game day. Would you? Do you do dessert?
I would, yeah. Well, if you're having barbecue and all that, yeah. I think they go hand in hand. You know, like
right.
I didn't think about it until you mentioned it, to be honest. But now that you mentioned it, I would be all about it too. You know.
Nice.
But what game day dessert would you consider to be Super Bowl worthy?
That's interesting. I don't even know. It's like I try to think back at all the Super Bowl celebrations I've ever been to. I don't even think there's been like a legitimate dessert. I feel like cookies and brownies. I mean, something that's mobile, you know?
S'mores. Done.
S'mores. Yes. I would not be.
But you all know that I love
opposed.
s'mores. So
yeah, I would not be opposed to that at all.
I would find like different ways to make s'mores. Like I would make s'mores on the smoker. I would probably make like some sort of s'mores pudding. I would make like wrap them in bacon or put like some sort of bacon pieces with my chocolate. Like, yeah, I would come up with something.
There are some great like already exist bacon and crushed potato chip chocolate bars out there that you could shortcut like really, really good. Super good.
Yeah. I feel like that would be cheating, but working smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
There would be
speaking of bacon, go ahead. And then I have a question.
I was say there would be a time where I would eventually do both. I don't know. But is there a specific type of what? Bacon?
I have a question. I have a specific bacon question for you. All right. So have you seen the advertisements for Sonic's peanut butter bacon shake?
Yes, I've seen it. Would I try it?
Yeah.
Notice the long pause. I would try it. I'm not saying I wouldn't try it. I would definitely try it, but we'd go from there. I'd get a small just in case I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really intrigued by it. I already know that I like peanut butter and bacon together. I've put bacon in ice cream before, like homemade ice cream. I did like a pecan pie and bacon, was really good, and then chocolate chip and bacon was really good. I just kind of have a feeling that this shake is. Look, I like Sonic, you guys. Don't get me wrong, but I just have I have like the
you have to like justify. Or
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't, but I have the lowest expectation for this because I feel like it's gonna be like super heavy liquid smoked like Bako bits or like artificial bacon flavor. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if I'm down with that or not. Hey, if somebody out there has tried this, please let us know.
I would love to know.
Please let us know. So are you staying on your diet for Super Bowl Sunday?
Probably. I don't know. We'll see. I hope my trainer's not hearing this, but yes. I mean, it depends. Like, we'll see what happens. I still have to work that day, but I get out at 5. So by the time I get back from work and all that's pushing 6, and it's fine. But we'll see what happens. Oh, welcome back.
Nice. Nice.
My co-host, our co-host, is now back. He had to go inspect.
Got it.
I think he heard the fact that we're talking about food and had to go see if there was food in the kitchen. That's what it is.
I got it.
Inspector Swanson over here. Yeah, these dogs.
Well, so far, my family is doing cocktail sausages, sausage balls, and some kind of dessert, but nobody has an exact menu yet. So I think that I will get to be there. I'm really not sure, but I'm looking forward to eating about 3 times as too much of everything. So if I don't get to be there and I have to work, then I will probably have a chicken breast. Yeah. That's also, it's kind of also where I'm at.
I'm going to throw this one out there. It's a shame that Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays because I feel like they would sell a ton of chicken tenders. I know I would be one of the ones to buy them on Super Bowl Sunday.
Or the biscuit minis. Well, I think people play it really smart and they go order those platters the day before. They can pick them up the day before.
From Chick-fil-A? Then you have like leftover fried food. Doesn't hold up very well.
Well, they reheat really well, the chicken biscuit minis, and then they do like the brownie platters, and the nuggets are not terrible as long as you're just using an air fryer or an oven.
So now that we're talking about that Chick-fil-A, now I'm thinking about like their mac and cheese. Would you use mac and cheese like on a Super Bowl Sunday, or would you do like a mac and cheese bites or something? What would you do?
I would do like a buffalo chicken mac and cheese. That's what I would do.
I mean, that sounds legit, and it's with like the blue cheese. But what I would do? I would take it a step further, and then do like mac and cheese buffalo style bites where you deep fry them or air fry them in our case, and then go from there, and then just have like blue cheese dressing.
Dude, that sounds so ridiculous.
It's a lot of work. I hate those because there's so much work. But I love them because they taste so good.
Do you, when you make this, right, like this kind of croquette or fritter or whatever, do you go the route of, do you scoop it and then freeze the scoops? Or do you like press it into a sheet pan and like freeze that and then, peel the paper off and slice it?
What I've typically done is I'll just make my mac and cheese like really, really thick. And I'll do it on the sheet pan to where like it'll set up a little bit quicker.
Right.
And then I'll probably, bread it, batter it, deep fry it, or air fry it, or whatever the case is.
I love it. I remember, I think I'd had it before then, but I remember watching Alton Brown do that and thinking that it was just kind of genius. And he put a lot of hot sauce on his, and the man is very brilliant, and he's a good human. And, I just remember like being kind of awestruck the first time I saw him do that. But he made like the triangles. He kind of cut it out of like a half sheet pan. And
then you get more out of it. Alton Brown, I hope you're listening. # please don't cancel us. I'm kidding. God, it's copyrighted.
# we love Alton Brown.
Oh yeah. So and then you know what would be a good dipping sauce?
What's that?
Tabasco blue cheese dip with a lot of garlic. Like,
yes,
just basically everything that would give you like yuck mouth, if you will.
I'm in. Yeah. I'm 100% in. Dude, this week, we were talking about last week about possibly stuffing an olive and frying it. And well, at the time this comes out, I think it'll be like 2 weeks ago, but we'll see. Not really sure. But anyhow, if anybody listened to the last Meals episode, we were talking about stuffing an olive, maybe with feta cheese or blue cheese, and deep frying it. You guys, I found a dirty martini dip somewhere on Instagram. I have to go back and see where I found it, but it's like a combination of all the best things. It's like feta, cream cheese, blue cheese in the food processor with the olive brine, and then you serve the thinly sliced olives on top, and you eat it with pita chips, and like, stop. I have to go. I'm going to go buy that stuff right now.
Even tell us where we can find you, right?
Yeah,
let's wrap it up.
I could probably eat my weight in any kind of green olive and cream cheese combination. I'm just saying.
Agreed. Black olives for me.
But I'm going to go eat a yogurt and orange because sometimes being an adult really sucks.
Right.
Steve, where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I am starting my food journey with, like I said, eating healthy, but like I'm still trying to make videos so that way because it's fun for me and it's my outlet of artistic expression. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, find me on social media. Chef Steven Gonzalez on Facebook, Chef Stegon's on Instagram, X, and TikTok, and talk food on chefstevengonzalez.com.
So, I refuse. I'm not going to call it Twitter because X is stupid. I saw some older pictures that you post. So if anybody's not following Chef Steven on either one of his pages on Facebook, you're missing out because he will cycle through a bunch of food that he's made before. It might be new content, it might be old content, but it always looks amazing. Like there was a picture of dumplings you posted maybe last night or the night before that just looked incredible. Or maybe it was like pierogies or I don't know, whatever it was, but looking at it made me really hungry. So
I know.
I was like,
those are good.
I was like, there goes Steve again with his food pictures.
I have to remind myself, like, this is why you're a foodie, because it's so good.
Because it's this
is why you got into the chef industry.
Yes, because it's so amazing. I will tell everybody I did come out of dry January unscathed, and I drank a half a Negroni on February 1st, and that was it. I drank half of it and was like, no thank you, iced tea is just fine. And so yeah, I don't know, it was fine. I slept so well during January that I don't miss it. Actually, I'm not saying I never will again, but it'll just become like more special occasions.
One from time to time is okay. It's moderation.
Yeah, just moderation. Nothing wrong.
So where can we find you on social media?
So y'all can find me /us at the Food for ThoughtCast on Facebook and Instagram. We got 2 new Facebook followers this week. Thank you so much to the both of you. We continue to post links to the YouTube videos and they're getting views, which is amazing. So thank you so much, everybody out there who listens or watches or does both. And we always love to get the feedback from the listeners. So Steve, dude, enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, you too. Have fun. I hope you don't have to work too late.
All right. I hope so too. Take care. See, we got to go. Bye.
Bye.